Egyptian Sleep Tales Guided Meditation. Tonight, we'll walk through the Great Pyramid of Khufu. Settle in, slow your breathing, and let the scene gather around you. You stand on the Giza Plateau as the last light of day thins to gold. The air is dry and cool after sunset. The desert holding the warmth while a faint breeze draws across the open stone. Stair-stepped courses of limestone climbing into dusk. Edges that almost disappear into the sky. The Great Pyramid fills your field of vision and then keeps going. Inhale slowly through your nose. Feel the air arrive, cool, faintly mineral, unfamiliar but clean. Exhale gently, and with the breath, let go of every place you have been today. Your feet are here, on a pale limestone paving of the plateau, in front of a monument aligned so closely to the cardinal directions that even compasses pause to reconsider themselves. The outer casing stones that once wrapped these faces in polished Chira limestone are mostly gone now, repurposed by later centuries, yet you can still feel their ghost, a skin of white, so highly finished that morning sunlight would once have broken and flowed across it like water. Imagine that for a moment, an entire mountain of light, its tip capped by a small gleam of something brighter. The ground beneath your shoes is not sand here, but stone, cut paving and exposed bedrock, warm where the sun touched it, cool in the shade. You turn your head and take inventory of the horizon. Far to the east, beyond the unseen Nile, low lights mark the city. The sky there is faintly brighter, a soft veil lifting from the river valley. To the west, the desert is already night. You return your gaze to the face before you. Somewhere high along this north side, a little east of the center line, the original entrance looks out from the 13th course. A doorway framed in gabled blocks meant to be closed, meant to hide its own discretion. Below and to one side, near to the ground, there is another opening, the rougher breach where, long after the pyramid's completion, men cut their way in by force through the courses. Feel how the ground under you is not an idea of ground, but a real surface, the same bedrock the pyramid rises from. Let stability travel up through your feet, into your legs, your hips, your spine. The pyramid's steadiness meets your own. Take another step forward. Let your hand hover near the face of the pyramid. You don't need to touch it yet. You can feel the cool radiating outward in a thin film. If you do touch, you notice the texture, pitted, irregular, firm, each block surface holding its own small pattern of time. There are places where edges have rounded, places where your palms fit in a concavity left by chisels of the long vanished hands. Before you, a low passage leads inward from the rough-cut breach. You can feel the air at the mouth of the opening, a cool current flowing out, rising slightly, a trace of dust and deep stone coming with it. Let your eyes rest one last time on the exterior face. Thank it, if you like, for all that has endured. Wind, sun, hands, time, the long curiosity of passing centuries. Feel the gratitude in your chest and let it soften whatever is still hard there. When you are ready, lower your chin slightly so your neck lengthens and the crown of your head points along the passage line. Your body knows how to enter. One measured step, then another, weight rolling from heel to ball, breath quiet, gaze soft. This is the moment before the first step. This is the hinge between outside and in, between open dusk and interior night, between the world that holds you and the world you will enter. Take one more breath, full, steady, generous. On the exhale, feel the threshold receive you. And now, step forward. We are now on Chapter 1, approaching the pyramid entrance. You take your first step into the opening, and the air shifts instantly. Behind you, the desert sounds fade, the faint hiss of wind across the sand, the occasional murmur of voices, the vast openness of the plateau. Ahead, the passage draws you inward like a breath held in stone. The walls close around you almost instantly, rough and uneven from the hands that forced this entrance centuries ago. The ceiling is low, not more than shoulder height, and you naturally stoop as you move forward. The stone here is not polished, not deliberate. It is hacked and broken. The impatient work of those who tunneled their way inside. Each surface carries scars, jagged edges, gouges where tools bit too deeply, and patches of ancient dust still clinging as if reluctant to leave. You pause. The air feels cooler here, a degree or two lower than the warmth outside. A dry coolness that smells faintly of limestone dust and something deeper, something untouched by light for centuries. You draw it in through your nose. It is sharp, mineral, almost metallic. Along the ground, small electric track lights line the floor. They don't shine harshly. Instead, they glow dimly. Pools of amber along the path, each one throwing soft shadows upward across the jagged walls. The light creates contrasts. Bright edges where chisel marks catch, then sudden drops into darkness where the rock retreats. Your eyes follow the glow from one pool of light to the next, like stepping stones leading you deeper. You let your hand brush along the left wall. It's rough under your fingertips, the texture of stone broken by force rather than carved with intention. Each inch is uneven, a record of men hacking desperately with iron and fire to breach the sealed monument. If you lean closer, you can almost imagine the sound of their tools echoing in this confined space. The grunts of labor, the nervous excitement of cutting into mystery. But now all is silence. The stone has absorbed their effect, leaving only the coolness beneath your hand. You continue a few more steps. The opening narrows, pressing in just enough that you feel enclosed, like a secret folding around you. Each step forward lowers the volume of the world outside, until all that remains is the quiet rhythm of your own breath and the soft scrape of your shoes on stone. You bend lower as the hacked tunnel angles downward slightly, and then, suddenly, you see where it connects. Merging with this rough channel is the original descending passage of the pyramid. Its walls are smoother, its angle precise, a corridor designed by architects, not raiders. The contrast is startling. From jagged stone you step into geometry. Polished limestone blocks fitted together with care, their surfaces clean and straight. You stand at the threshold, 1 foot still in the forced passage, 1 foot ready to enter the official way down. You let your eyes travel along the descending passage. It stretches forward at a steep angle, 30 degrees into shadow, narrowing as it goes. The ceiling is low, just high enough to crouch, and the floor slopes so steadily that your legs prepare for the strain of descent. The track lights continue here, a faint string of golden dots running down into the depths. You pause, listening. The silence is thicker now, as though the pyramid itself muffles sound. It is not just quiet, it is weighted, a silence that has grown heavy over a millennia. You inhale again, slow and steady. The cool air fills your lungs. On the exhale, you lean slightly forward, ready to begin the descent. Behind you is the world of light, of noise, of movement. Ahead is the world of stone, geometry, and time. You take a single step into the descending passage. The limestone beneath your foot is worn smooth from centuries of visitors, slightly slick in places but firm and cold. You place your hand gently against the wall as balance, and its chill transfers into your skin. Another step, another breath. The pyramid begins to claim you. Welcome to Chapter 2, The Descending Passage. You shift your weight and lower your body slightly. You're ready for the slope. The passage stretches ahead of you at a steady incline, steep enough to make you cautious, shallow enough that it feels endless. Your eyes follow it down, step by step, light by light, until the amber track lights vanish into the distance like fireflies captured in stone. The ceiling above you is low, only about 4 feet high, forcing you to stoop, bend your knees, and lean forward. Already you feel the stretch on your back, the quiet strain in your legs. Every movement is deliberate. You place 1 foot down carefully, then the other, letting your balance adjust to the angle. The walls here are smoother than the hacked opening you came through. They are limestone, pale cream in color, quarried and polished long before you were born, long before anyone you can name. Your fingers glide over them now. At first, you feel the coolness of the stone, but as you trace the wall further, you notice a subtle change. The polished surface is no longer sharp with chisel marks, but rounded, almost softened, worn by thousands of hands over the centuries. The pyramid remembers each visitor in its own way. You are just one more name added silently to that memory. The air is cooler here, much cooler. Each breath you take feels cleaner, more neutral, as if stripped of the sense of the outside world. The desert's dryness, the warmth of the sand, the faint smell of the city in the distance, gone. In their place is the stillness of enclosed stone. The pyramid has its own breath, its own climate. You inhale deeply and your lungs fill with the crispness that feels both refreshing and ancient. On the exhale, you watch your breath dissolve into the dim light. You continue downward. The passage is about 3.5 feet wide, just enough to fit your shoulders if you tuck them slightly. You feel enclosed, but not suffocated. The limestone walls press in on both sides, steady and unyielding, and yet you sense something protective in their closeness. The slope continues. You notice how the light plays tricks here. Each pool of illumination creates a shadow behind it, stretching long across the floor and the walls. As you move forward, the shadows seem to retreat, sliding along with you, as though guiding you deeper. The amber glow is soft, never harsh, leaving pockets of darkness between each lamp. Your eyes adjust easily, letting both shadow and light become companions. You pause, stooping in the middle of the passage, and turn your head slightly upward. The ceiling is low, smooth, flat. You imagine the workers, thousands of years ago, chiseling block after block, aligning each with mathematical precision. The slope itself is exact, 26.5 degrees, consistent, unwavering, stretching more than 350 feet downward into the earth. This was no accident, no guesswork. It was intention solidified in stone. And now, you are walking that intention, step by step. You resume your descent. Your shoes scuff lightly against the smooth floor. The sound echoes strangely, amplified and yet muted at the same time. Like footsteps in a vast cave, you pause your steps for a moment and the silence rushes back in. It's a silence that isn't empty. It's dense, layered, almost alive. The kind of silence that holds every sound ever made here, tucked away, waiting. You inhale again, and with that silence, your body feels smaller, more humbled, yet safe within this stone geometry. As you move further down, the light behind you begins to fade. The outside world shrinks until it's only a faint memory, a dim glow at the far end of the passage. Ahead, the track lights continue, pulling you deeper. You realize how far you've gone already. Time has slowed. The pyramid bends it here. You have been walking only minutes, yet it feels like you have been descending for much longer, as though time stretches differently when encased in stone. You notice how your body begins to adapt to the angle. The stoop that first strained your back now becomes more natural. The tilt of the slope is no longer a challenge, but a rhythm. Step, bend, adjust. Step, bend, adjust. Each movement ties to your breath. Each breath ties to your awareness. You and the passage become one process, one quiet journey downward. About 100 feet in, you pause again. You look ahead, down the long, glowing throat of the passage, and you realize something. This is not just stone. This is a message. The builders wanted you to feel this narrowing, this descent, this compression. They wanted you to bend, to slow down, to focus, to humble yourself before entering deeper chambers. Every detail here is deliberate, and you are part of this ritual now. You let your hands trace the wall again, slowly. It feels faintly moist in places, cool stone breathing against the warmth of your skin. Tiny grains of limestone cling to your fingertips as you move. You rub them gently between thumb and forefinger, and they crumble like powder, dissolving back into the air. You take another breath. This one feels heavier, denser. The pyramid's atmosphere fills you more deeply now. As you exhale, you imagine yourself releasing everything else, your thoughts, your worries, your unfinished tasks. Each one drifts into the passage behind you, left to dissolve into silence. Ahead, there is only you, stone, light, and breath. Step by step, you continue downward. The world outside is gone. The journey has begun. I now want to welcome you to Chapter 3, The Ascending Passage and the Junction. The slope beneath your feet continues downward, the walls pressing in close, your breath steady in the cool hush. Step by step, you descend deeper into the heart of the pyramid. And then, as your eyes follow the amber glow ahead, you notice something different, a junction, a choice. The descending passage carries on, straight and steep, leading down into shadow, where you know it eventually ends in the unfinished subterranean chamber carved deep into the bedrock. But here, at this precise place, a second way opens upward. You stop, leaning slightly on the smooth wall beside you, and turn your gaze toward the incline rising ahead. The ascending passage, narrow, steep, mysterious, branches upward at nearly the same angle as the descent. It is not rough like the forced entry you crawled through before. Its walls are smoother, polished, deliberate. Yet the way is blocked, partially sealed with the massive granite blocks, but it's so tightly that even centuries of attempts have not shifted them completely. You crouch lower, studying the scene. 3 enormous granite plugs still sit in place within the ascending passage's floor, their tops visible from where you stand. Behind them, the corridor continues upward, narrow and steep, its polished limestone walls glowing softly in the light. The blocks were meant to close this path forever, but long ago, explorers cut a rough bypass around them, chipping away enough stone to allow passage. And it is through this ancient workaround that you now must continue. You bend your knees, lowering your back as you move into the bypass tunnel. The stone is jagged again, hacked away, less precise than the geometry of the pyramid. Your hands find purchase on the rough surface, the grit clinging to your palms. The air feels tighter here, the ceiling pressing close, but the lights guide you forward. The sound of your own movement echoes strangely, bouncing back at you in fragments. Every step, every touch of your hand seems amplified in this small space. When you emerge, you find yourself standing on the slope of the ascending passage proper. The change is immediate and striking. Gone are the hacked stones. Here, the corridor feels exact, intentional. Its walls are polished smooth, the floor set with a precise incline. The passage is narrow, about 3.5 feet wide, and not much taller than yourself, forcing you to stoop again. It stretches upwards, straight and unwavering, like a stone throat reaching towards some hidden destination. You place a hand on the wall. The surface is cool, flat, clean, almost eerily smooth compared to the roughness you've just left behind. The builders carved this passage with deliberate care, each block fitted seamlessly, joints so fine you can barely slip a fingernail between them. Your fingers glide along without interruption, and you realize how much effort must have gone into creating such perfection. You begin to climb. The slope is steady, just over 26 degrees, yet combined with the low ceiling, each step demands attention. You lean forward, letting your hands occasionally touch the walls for balance. The air feels slightly heavier here, denser, as though the pyramid itself is pressing down with its weight. And in a way, it is. Above you, millions of tons of stone rest in absolute silence, pressing downward through gravity and time. Yet the corridor holds. It has always held. You pause halfway, glancing behind you. Through the narrow shaft, you can just barely see the junction where the descending passage continues downward. For a moment, you sense the duality, 2 paths diverging inside the pyramid, one towards the depths of the earth, the other towards the chambers above. You are on the path upward now, ascending towards spaces that hold their own mysteries. The light continues, casting pools of amber glow along the floor. Each light seems to mark not only distance, but progress. a small beacon guiding you further in. The shadows rise and fall with the angle, forming shapes that stretch and shrink as you move. In some, you think that you see patterns, almost like figures carved into darkness. You blink and they dissolve back into nothing. The slope demands more effort now. Your breathing deepens. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. You find yourself falling into rhythm. Breath, step, stoop. Breath, step, stoop. The pyramid teaches you its pace, and you accept it willingly. Each movement becomes meditative, steady, focused. Near the top of the passage, the space shifts again. The slope flattens slightly, and you emerge into a small but significant intersection. Before you stretches the continuation upward into the Grand Gallery. To your right, a narrow horizontal passage breaks away, leading toward the Queen's Chamber. And behind you lies the path you've just taken, the slope dropping back into shadow. You stand here in this junction and let the geometry settle around you. 3 directions, down into the earth, upward into grandeur, or sideways into mystery. Each path deliberate, each path symbolic. You realize the builders designed this intersection not merely as an architectural feature, but as a ritual choice, a moment of transition. You can almost feel their intention lingering in the air, as though the pyramid itself is waiting for you to decide. You take a slow breath, steadying yourself. The silence here is profound, thicker than in the descending passage, heavier than in the hacked opening. It is not the silence of emptiness, but the silence of purpose. The stone seems to listen to you, to weigh you, to hold you in its timeless patience. Your gaze shifts upward. The light fades into soaring darkness that marks the beginning of the Grand Gallery. Already you sense that change ahead. The narrow confinement of passages giving way to something immense, something extraordinary. But before you step forward, you allow yourself one last moment here at the junction. You place your hand flat against the smooth limestone, close your eyes, and feel the cool stability of the pyramid run into your palm, into your arm, into your chest. It is as though the pyramid acknowledges you, accepts you, and prepares to reveal what comes next. You exhale slowly, fully, completely, and then you step toward the vastness that awaits. You are now entering Chapter 4, the Grand Gallery. You step forward from the narrow ascending passage, still bent slightly at the waist, and suddenly the stone world around you changes. The ceiling above you rises far higher than you expect. The Grand Gallery opens like a stone cathedral, and for the first time since you entered this pyramid, you can straighten your back, lift your head, and breathe into open space. The dimensions strike you at once. The gallery stretches forward for nearly 150 feet, sloping upward at the same precise angle as the passage behind you. Its walls rise nearly 28 feet, narrowing inward step by step in a series of corbelled layers, each one set back slightly, creating a staircase of stone above your head. The effect is dizzying. Lines of geometry converging toward the ceiling, a corridor that feels both vast and intimate, ordered and mysterious. You pause at the threshold. The change in acoustics is immediate. The confined echoes of the narrow corridors dissolve here, replaced by a resonance that seems to linger, amplifying the smallest sound. You take a breath, and the inhale seems to expand outward, filling the air around you. When you exhale, the faint sound carries upward, rising along the corbelled steps until it fades into silence near the ceiling. The gallery does not just contain sound, it transforms it, makes it sacred. Your eyes adjust to the play of light in this chamber. Small track lamps sit along the raised central floor, their glow climbing the soaring walls in streaks of amber. Shadows gather at the recesses, stretching upward with each corbel, each step inward. The gallery seems alive with movement, light retreating and advancing, shadows lengthening and contracting, as though the walls themselves are breathing with you. You take your first step inside. The floor is unusual, 2 raised ramps of stone run along either side, smooth and polished, while a central groove divides them. Your shoes echo differently here, a sharper sound as the floor itself wishes to announce your presence. You step again, and the sound repeats, a rhythm joining your breath. Each step carries forward, amplified by the chamber, as though the pyramid itself is marking your passage. You place your hand along the side wall. Unlike the smooth surfaces of the ascending passage, here you feel deep vertical slots cut into the walls, evenly spaced like ribs running along the length of the gallery. They are precise, deliberate, yet the purpose is uncertain. Some say they once held beams or supports. Others suggest they served rituals or symbolic functions. Whatever their meaning, they give the walls a strange texture, a rhythm beneath your palm as you move forward. You walk slowly, deliberately. Each step draws you further up the slope. You feel the incline with your calves, the stretch in your thighs. The effort is steady but not exhausting. It keeps you mindful of your body, aware of your balance. You breathe in rhythm. Inhale as you step, exhale as you settle your foot, matching your pace to the geometry around you. Halfway up, you stop and turn. Behind you, the gallery stretches downward, vanishing into the narrow passage from which you entered. From this vantage point, you see the full effect. A channel of stone rising and narrowing, converging toward the ceiling like a great funnel leading upward. The air feels different here, more open, yet also denser, as though filled with unseen weight. You sense not emptiness, but potential, like a chamber waiting for something to be revealed, a secret held just beyond your reach. You continue climbing. The amber lights guide you, reflecting softly on the smooth stone. Your footsteps echo upward, then fade. Your hand glides along the wall, feeling each vertical slot pass by you in steady rhythm. Step, slot, breath. Step, slot, breath. The gallery becomes not just a place, but a process. Its rhythm moving through you, as if the builders designed it to not only be seen, but to be experienced. The silence here is powerful. You stop once more and listen. At first, nothing. Then slowly, you realize you can hear your heartbeat, steady and strong, pulsing in the quiet. You place your palm flat against the wall, and for a moment, it feels as though the stone is pulsing too, echoing your rhythm. Perhaps it is just imagination, or perhaps this chamber, with its soaring walls and precise angles, amplifies more than sound. It amplifies being itself. Far ahead, near the top of the gallery, you see the darkness breaking. The slope ends in a small platform, leading into the granite-lined antechamber beyond. To your right, halfway up, you notice another passage, narrow, horizontal, leading toward the Queen's Chamber. The pyramid offers choices again, each path a different mystery, but for now, your eyes remain fixed on the gallery above. You climb the final stretch. The slope tests you one last time, your breath deepening, your body aware of every step. At last, you reach the top platform, a flat ledge of stone where the gallery ends and the next stage begins. You pause here, turning slowly, letting your gaze sweep down the full length of the grand gallery one final time. From this height, the chamber looks even more magnificent, its geometry stretching downward in perfect order, vanishing into the small darkness at the bottom. You inhale deeply, filling your lungs with the cool, clean air. Exhale slowly, letting the silence settle inside of you. You have climbed through mystery and now stand on the threshold of the King's Chamber path. We have arrived to Chapter 5, the Queen's Chamber. From your place at the midpoint of the Grand Gallery, you notice the opening to your right, a low horizontal corridor that breaks away from the upward climb. The Grand Gallery beckons you higher, toward grandeur and weighty stone chambers, but you pause here, letting your gaze fall into the stillness of the side passage. The amber glow traces its edges, flat and level, as though inviting you into a quieter mystery. You stoop once more and step sideways into this horizontal passage. Immediately, the atmosphere shifts. The towering space of the gallery falls away, replaced by a lower, more human-scaled corridor. The walls here are smooth limestone, clean and pale, their surfaces polished long ago. The passage runs straight and narrow for 127 feet, long enough that the end seems hidden, tucked beyond sight. The floor beneath you is level now, a relief after the steady incline of the gallery. Your shoes make soft sounds against the stone, hushed and even. The echoes are different here, more intimate, more immediate, bouncing close around you rather than soaring overhead. You find yourself breathing more gently, in smaller rhythms, as though the chamber ahead is already calming you. The corridor glows with subtle light from fixtures placed close to the ground. Their warmth pulls softly along the walls, revealing the precision of the masonry. You run your fingertips along the limestone. It is smoother than before, less worn by hands, still holding a faint coolness. Here and there, tiny veins in the stone catch the light, golden threads that shimmer for a moment before fading black into pale silence. As you walk, step by step, you notice how the air feels different here. In the gallery, it was very expansive, lofty, charged with echo. Here, it feels enclosed, settled, almost protective. The pyramid's mass wraps more tightly around you, pressing not the weight, but with stillness. Every inhale seems steadier, every exhale seems softer. The pyramid is teaching you how to slow down. At last, after a long, straight walk, the corridor widens. You emerge into the Queen's chamber. You pause at the threshold. The room is modest compared to the soaring gallery or the grandeur of what lies above, but its proportions are elegant, balanced. The chamber measures only about 18 feet by 17 feet. Nearly square, with a pointed gable ceiling that rises overhead like an inverted V. The walls are clean limestone, pale and smooth. Their joints fitted so precisely that they seem like one continuous surface. You step inside, the sound of your footfalls changes again. In this chamber, the echoes are soft but distinct, as though the room has been turned to hold sound for a heartbeat before letting it go. You walk slowly across the floor, your steps measured. Each sound seems to ripple gently through the air, then fade into silence. At the eastern wall, your eyes are drawn immediately to a curious feature. A tall, narrow niche cut directly into the stone. It rises nearly to the ceiling, its sides tapered upward. Its purpose is unknown. Some believe it once held a statue or sacred object. Others suggest it was symbolic, a marker of ritual significance. You approach it slowly, standing at its base. Looking upward, the niche seems to climb into shadow, its lines converging like a silent question carved in stone. You place your hand lightly on the wall beside it. The limestone here is cooler, untouched by countless hands, carrying the quiet of centuries. The stone does not speak, but it holds presence. You close your eyes for a moment and simply stand in that presence, letting the chamber's calm surround you. 2 small shafts are cut into the north and south walls, beginning here in the Queen's chamber. They are narrow, angled upward. Their ends once hidden, their purpose debated. Some say they were for ventilation. Others believe they were symbolic passageways for the soul, channels guiding the spirit toward the stars. You cannot see far into them, but knowing they exist gives a room a quiet sense of connection, links to something greater, unseen, reaching beyond. You take a few slow steps back toward the center of the chamber. Standing there, you let your eyes travel across the room. Its walls are bare. There are no inscriptions, no paintings, no hieroglyphs to explain its purpose, only the stone itself, smooth and clean, waiting in silence. And yet, their simplicity holds power. The Queen's chamber feels balanced, symmetrical, meditative. It is less imposing than the King's chamber above, but perhaps more intimate. It does not overwhelm you, it invites you. It is a place to pause, to breathe, to feel. You sit quietly on the stone floor. The coolness seeps through the soles of your shoes, grounding you. You let your breath lengthen. Inhale, slow and deep. Exhale, longer, softer. The chamber supports this rhythm. It feels as though the very walls breathe with you, holding and releasing the sound of your breath in gentle echoes. For a few moments you do nothing but sit and listen. Listen to the silence. Listen to the faint hum of the pyramid around you. Listen to yourself. present in this ancient room. Time dissolves here. Minutes, hours, centuries all blend together. You are simply here in this space carved into eternity. When you are ready, you rise slowly, letting your hands brush the air as you steady yourself. You take one last look at the tall eastern niche, all the silent shafts, at the pale walls holding their unknown presence. Then you step back toward the corridor. The Queen's Chamber fades behind you as you return along the horizontal passage. The amber lights guide you once again, the sound of your steps carrying softly ahead. The Grand Gallery waits at the far end, rising steeply into shadow and mystery. You inhale deeply, exhale fully. The journey continues upward. Thank you for still listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for enjoying this video with me. This is the Egyptian Sleep Tales channel on YouTube, and you have now arrived on Chapter 6, the Antechamber and the King's Chamber. You return from the Queen's Chamber along the narrow horizontal corridor, step by step, until the walls open back into the soaring height of the Grand Gallery. The sudden expansion above you feels almost overwhelming as the stillness you've just left behind. You pause at the threshold, letting your eyes adjust to the shifting geometry, amber light spilling upward, shadows deepening in the corbelled layers, silence amplifying the sound of your breath. Your footsteps echo sharply, bouncing upward, resonating in ways no chamber outside could produce. With each step, you climb higher, breath syncing with motion. The gallery seems endless, its converging lines pulling you upward like a funnel of stone. At last, the slope eases, the long incline ends, and you find yourself before a narrow platform at the gallery's summit. You pause here. Behind you stretches the long, steep throat of the Grand Gallery, vanishing into shadow. Ahead lies the threshold to the next mystery. You step forward, and the space narrows once more. This is the Antechamber, a traditional passage only a few feet long, but one of immense significance. Its walls are not pale limestone like those before, but solid blocks of pink granite, polished and fitted with astonishing precision. The granite gleams faintly under the lamps, darker and more resonant than limestone, as though infused with its own quiet energy. The ceiling lowers, the width narrows. You stoop slightly again, your shoulders brushing close to the granite walls. Along the sides, you notice deep vertical grooves cut into the stone, channels where great granite portcullis slabs once slid down to seal the King's Chamber from intrusion. 3 sets of grooves run along the chamber, silent sentinels of a defense long disused. You imagine the massive slabs that once rested here, raised and lowered with unimaginable effort, protecting what lay ahead. Now only the grooves remain, like scars in stone, reminders of the ingenuity and determination of the builders. You pause, your hand resting lightly against the granite. It is colder than limestone, denser, smoother under your palm. The surface holds a faint vibration, not of movement but of presence, an ancient resonance that feels almost alive. You close your eyes for a moment, breathing slowly. Each inhale seems to deepen the chamber's stillness. Each exhale feels absorbed by the stone itself. Stepping forward again, you pass through the narrow granite frame. The antechamber is small, only about 13 feet long, but its weight is immense, not just in mass, but in atmosphere. It feels like a gate, a final passage before revelation. And then you emerge. The space ahead opens into a room unlike any other you have entered. You step into the King's Chamber. At once, the proportions envelop you. The chamber measures 34 feet long, 17 feet wide, and nearly 19 feet high. A perfect rectangular space, every surface lined with massive blocks of red Aswan granite. The walls rise smooth and unbroken, their joints fitted so precisely that the seams nearly vanish into the stone. The ceiling above is flat, formed by 9 colossal granite beams, each weighing tens of tons, stretching from wall to wall in silent endurance. You stand still, your breath catching at the majesty of it. The sound here is unlike anywhere else in the pyramid. The chamber resonates. Every step, every breath, every heartbeat carries through the granite, amplified in ways you can feel in your bones. You take one careful step, and the sound blooms outward, lingering long after your foot has settled. You exhale slowly, and the chamber hums with it, as though the stone is answering back. This is not just a room, it is an instrument. Your eyes travel forward. At the far western end of the chamber sits the granite sarcophagus, simple yet commanding. Its lid is long gone, its interior empty, but the box remains, a hollow vessel cut with impossible precision from a single block of stone. You walk toward it slowly, your footsteps echoing in patient rhythm. The sarcophagus rests slightly askew, larger than the doorway through which it must have passed. Was it placed here during construction, sealed in before the chamber was closed forever? The question lingers, unanswered. You reach out and rest your hand on the edge of the sarcophagus. The granite is cold, unyielding, yet perfectly smooth in places. You tap it gently with your fingers, and the chamber itself seems to vibrate in response. The sound carries, deep and resonant, as though the entire room is tuned to this one block of stone. You imagine lying inside, the granite surrounding you on all sides, the resonance of the chamber amplifying every breath, every heartbeat, every whisper of thought. The stillness here feels absolute, yet alive. You step back and let your gaze rise. You walk slowly around the room, tracing the walls with your hand. The granite hums faintly under your touch. In the corners, the shadows pool deeper, soft pockets of darkness where the light does not reach. The chamber feels balanced, symmetrical, yet also heavy with unanswered questions. Why granite, so difficult to quarry and transport? Why such precision dimensions, such perfect proportions? Was this truly a tomb or something more? You pause in the center of the chamber. The air feels dense, resonant, charged. You inhale slowly, letting the sound of your breath fill the room. You exhale, and the silence absorbs it, stretching it out until it becomes part of the chamber's hum. Your heart beats steadily, and you sense the granite amplifying it, carrying it outward, as though the pyramid itself is listening. This is the heart of the Great Pyramid, the King's Chamber, a room of precision, resonance, and mystery. You stand in its center, the weight of millions of tons of stone pressing down from above, and yet you feel not crushed but held, as though the pyramid's mass is cradling you in its geometry. You let your eyes rest on the sarcophagus one last time, empty, silent, yet alive with resonance, a vessel of stone, waiting. You take a long, steady breath. Inhale, exhale. The silence holds you. The pyramid holds you. Welcome to Chapter 6.2, The Relieving Chambers. Think back a few moments. You were standing in the center of the King's Chamber, granite walls resonating faintly with each breath you took. The sarcophagus rests before you, empty yet alive with presence. You glanced upward at the ceiling, knowing 9 massive granite beams stretched across the chamber, each weighing more than 50 tons. Their strength has held the weight of the pyramid for thousands of years. And though you cannot see them, though no visitor may walk there, you know that above the ceiling lie hidden spaces. 5 small chambers stacked one upon another, each one a guardian against the crushing weight above. These are the relieving chambers. Close your eyes for a moment and let your mind climb. Imagine stepping onto a narrow ladder tucked against the wall, a secret passage rising upward through the ceiling beams. You ascend carefully, feeling the air grow tighter, the space narrower, until you pull yourself into the first of the hidden rooms. Here, the stone is different. The walls are rough, unfinished granite left raw by the builders. The chamber is low, confined, barely tall enough to stand. Dust lies thick across the floor, untouched for centuries. You shine a faint light across the wall, and there, painted in ancient red, you see quarry marks, symbols scrawled by the workers who placed these blocks. Among them, a royal name stands clear, Khufu. the signature of a king, hidden not in glory but in secrecy, placed in a chamber never meant to be visited. It ties the pyramid undeniably to its pharaoh, his name written in the dark, watching over eternity. You trace the painted hieroglyphs with your eyes, a cartouche of a great king. The marks feel fragile, yet they have survived millennia in silence. You ascend again, climbing into the next chamber, and then the next. Each one is similar, low, narrow, built only to relieve pressure. The granite beams above each layer carry the load, passing it upward and outward, protecting the chamber below. You imagine the weight above, millions of tons of stone pressing downward. The pyramid's mass funneled into these hidden vaults, and yet they hold. They have always held. By the time you reach the highest chamber, Campbell's chamber, the air feels different, lighter yet charged. The granite beams rise overhead like a ceiling of eternity, and the rough walls hold centuries of dust and silence. You stand there in imagination, alone in a chamber no ordinary visitor will ever see, and you feel it, the pyramid's secret heart, a place built not for show but for function, not for beauty but for endurance. And yet in its rawness there is beauty still. You close your eyes, the granite around you hums faintly, resonating with the vast pressure above and the silent strength below. You inhale deeply, filling your lungs with the pyramid's breath. Exhale slowly, releasing into its calm. You let yourself descend again, moving downward through each hidden vault until you return to the king's chamber below. You step once more onto its smooth granite floor, the sarcophagus waiting silently in the shadows, and though you never truly climbed above, you carry the knowledge of those hidden spaces with you now. 5 small chambers stacked like secret guardians holding back the weight of time. You breathe deeply, the mystery rests above you, the journey continues. Thank you for using your mind to imagine visiting the chambers above. You have now made it to Chapter 7, The Descent to the Subterranean Chamber. You stand once more in the king's chamber. The granite walls hum faintly with resonance. The sarcophagus rests in its eternal stillness, and above you, hidden, relieving chambers bear the weight of stone. For a moment, you breathe quietly, absorbing the balance of this place. And then slowly you turn. The path does not end here. There is one more direction, one more journey waiting for you. To find out, you must descend. You retrace your steps, leaving the king's chamber through the granite antechamber, moving downward into the great gallery. The slope feels easier now, your body lighter with each step downward. The cabelled walls rise high above, their lines pulling your gaze toward the ceiling. Your footsteps echo differently now, softer, fading backward instead of forward, as though the gallery itself is letting you go. At the base of the gallery, you find the junction again. One path climbs back upward toward the chambers of grandeur. One path leads sideways into the queen's chamber. And the third, the one you will now follow, plunges downward, the descending passage. You stoop once more, bending your body to fit the narrow space. The slope is steep, the ceiling low, forcing you into humility as you move forward. The limestone walls close around you, their surfaces polished, their angles exact. The air grows colder with every step, heavier as though layered in centuries of silence. The ember lights guide you downward, their glow shrinking the outside world to nothing. Deeper and deeper you go, the passage stretches on straight and unwavering, descending at the same 26-degree angle until at last the floor levels. You pause, straightening your back, grateful for the relief. Ahead, the stone corridor extends horizontally, leading you deeper into the pyramid's foundations. The air here is different, still, heavy, almost untouched. You feel it against your skin, a coolness that clings, carrying the faint scent of ancient stone dust. You continue forward, the walls shift subtly, no longer polished with precision of the chambers above. Here, the surfaces are rougher, unfinished, as though the work was abandoned long ago. Chisel marks scar the stone, irregular grooves that catch the light. The floor is uneven, carved directly into the bedrock. Each step reminds you that this place is different. not a perfected space of resonance and proportion, but a cavern of intent interrupted. And then you arrive. The corridor opens suddenly into the subterranean chamber. You stop at the threshold, letting your eyes adjust. The chamber is vast, nearly 46 feet long and 27 feet wide, but the ceiling is low, rough-hewn, unfinished. The walls are jagged, irregular, as if carved in haste or left incomplete. The chamber feels raw, primal, less a finished room than a wound in the rock itself. You step inside slowly. The sound of your footfall is swallowed differently here. Dull, heavy, absorbed by rough stone instead of polished granite. The air feels thicker, cooler, as though it has never truly circulated. You draw it into your lungs and it carries a flavor unlike any spaces above. Earthier, more elemental. At the far end of the chamber, you notice a rectangular shaft cut into the floor. It drops vertically into darkness, about 3 feet by 4, descending into an unfinished pit below. Some say it was meant to be expanded further, others that it was abandoned without purpose. Whatever the truth, the shaft gapes like an unanswered question in the stone. You peer down, seeing only shadow. You walk further into the chamber, running your hands along the rough wall. The stone here is uneven, jagged, unpolished. Your fingertips find grooves and ridges, the scars of ancient tools. The surface crumbles faintly, leaving grit against your skin. Unlike the smooth perfection of the upper chambers, here you feel the rawness of human labor, the unfinished effort of hands that carved but did not complete. You pause in the center of the chamber. The silence here is heavier, denser, as though buried deeper into time. No resonance hums through the walls, no symmetry claims the mind. Instead, this chamber speaks of mystery, abandonment, and secrecy. Why was it carved? Why was it left unfinished? Was it meant to be a burial place, or a decoy, or something else entirely? The questions rise, but the stone does not answer. You sit quietly on the uneven floor. The coolness seeps into your body, grounding you. Your breath slows. Inhale, exhale. The air feels stiller here than anywhere else in the pyramid, as though frozen in centuries of waiting. You close your eyes and let the silence wrap around you. In that silence, you sense something deeper than stone, an echo of an intention, an unfinished thought lingering across millennia. When you open your eyes, you look once more at the shaft on the floor, at the jagged walls, at the unfinished ceiling. The chamber feels ancient, unresolved, yet powerful in its rawness. It is not beauty that holds you here, but mystery. You take one long, steady breath. Inhale. Deep and slow. Exhale. Longer, softer, releasing everything into the chamber's stillness. The subterranean chamber holds you for a moment more, and then slowly you rise. The time has come to return upward. You turn back toward the corridor, leaving unfinished room behind. The lights guide you once again upward towards passages of order, of resonance, of geometry. The raw silence of the subterranean chamber lingers inside of you, a reminder that even in incompletion there is mystery. Step by step, you ascend. Thank you so much for listening tonight. We have now arrived at Chapter 8, the exit and closing reflection. You ascend from the depths, step by step, the unfinished subterranean chamber fading behind you. The narrow descending passage rises ahead, steep and steady. Your body bends once more to fit its confines, but now you are familiar with the rhythm. Stoop, step, breath. The limestone walls press close on either side, cool behind your hand, guiding you upward as though the pyramid itself is ushering you toward the surface. The amber lights glow gently along the floor, each one a beacon marking your progress. Shadows dance with your movements, retreating before you, curling back behind you. The silence is steady, broken only by the sound of your breath and the soft echo of your footsteps. Inhale, exhale, step. The rhythm is calming, grounding, each movement feels lighter than the last, as though the pyramid is releasing you slowly, carefully, from its embrace. At the junction, you glance once more toward the ascending passage, remembering the climb into the grand gallery, the resonance of the king's chamber, the quiet balance of the queen's chamber. Each space lingers within you like chambers of the heart, different in size, in feel, in purpose, but all connected. Then you continue downward, following the descending passage until it narrows again into the hack tunnel of Al Mamun's forced entry. Here, the walls grow jagged, irregular. You run your fingertips across the rough edges, feeling the contrast to the smooth, deliberate stone of the passages behind you. This was intrusion, not intention, a scar carved in the pyramid by restless hands. Yet even here, the air feels steady, cooler than outside, touched with the memory of chambers beyond. You stoop lower, moving carefully through the uneven rock, until at last you see it, a faint glow ahead, the exit. The world outside calls softly through the stone, a breath of desert air flowing inward, carrying with it sense of sand and dusk. Step by step, you move toward the opening. The air shifts with each pace, cool stillness giving way to warmth, silence dissolving into soft breath of the evening. You pass through the threshold and the pyramid releases you. You straighten your back fully for the first time in a long while. The weight of stone above is gone. Before you stretches the open plateau, the desert wide and quiet, the sky deepening into night. The last hues of twilight paint the horizon, purple, gold, and blue melting into a canvas of stars. You pause, turning back toward the Great Pyramid. Its north face rises behind you, dark and immense against the night sky. The edges sharpen against the stars, its triangular form climbing into infinity. You know now what lies within, the narrow passages, the soaring gallery, the chambers of residence and silence, the unfinished depth of the subterranean room. You carry them with you now, not just as places of stone, but as experiences etched into your own breath and memory. You stand quietly, letting the desert breeze brush against your skin. The pyramid seems to hum faintly, not with the sound, but with the presence, as though its mysteries live in the air itself. You inhale deeply, filling your lungs with the cool night. You exhale slowly, releasing everything you've carried, everything you set down inside. The pyramid watches, the stars rise, the desert breathes, and you, quiet, steady, at peace, stand between them, held in the balance of earth and sky. When you are ready, you turn away. Your steps are slower now, softer. The pyramid fades gently into the distance behind you, its silhouette eternal, its silence eternal. You walk forward into the night, your breath calm, your body light, your mind steady. The pyramid remains within you, a presence of stone and silence, a geometry of peace that you can return to whenever you wish. You inhale one final deep breath. Hold it gently, exhale slowly, completely. The pyramid whispers still, and you carry its calm with you into the quiet of rest. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.